hard to find even a stock or an ETF that goes up 20% in a single year. How true is this, ladies and gentlemen? In this week's video, I'm going to share with you essentially not only just can you make 20%, you can actually make 200% or 2x your investments. Essentially, this is basically depending on the process of how you actually discern and how you actually pick stocks or ETF. So in this week's video, we're going to delve on it as in basically one of our key stock that is actually one of my favorite all-time stocks that is actually C company Richemont. How to 2x your money? Essentially, how to make 100% on your stock. Let me just, gentlemen, this is actually my trading record with Credit Suisse Private Banking. This was actually on 6th of September 2023. So we're talking about 18 months ago. This is where I entered Richemont. I bought 1,600 shares at a price of Swiss franc 1,000, or rather 117. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, after the my total cost, therefore, it's about 187,000 thereabouts, taking into account the exchange rate at that time, about 1.51. That cost me almost a 300,000 investment. Now, fast forward, ladies and gentlemen, you can see essentially that when Richemont reported results just 2 weeks ago, you can see that the share price now has headed to 183, the closing on Friday. You can see, ladies and gentlemen, that based on the price that I bought from the red arrow, that was actually in September of 2023 at the bottom of the red arrow to the current price, you can see that I am already up 54%. So, ladies and gentlemen, for me to 2x my money on Richemont, this means that based on the chart, you can see that Richemont has to hit Swiss franc 234. I certainly hope it's happening as soon as possible. But essentially, where I am right now at 183, I'm actually up 52% as my uh, private banking statement from UBS has shown. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, UBS actually bought over Credit Suisse. So essentially, Credit Suisse now has evolved under UBS. So I'm like 21% away, or roughly 51 Swiss franc away from hitting 2x. So let me share with you, ladies and gentlemen. Because many investors in Singapore have been saying that, well, it's very hard to even make 2% or 20%. How true it is, because I'm showing you how to 2x your money, that's make 100%. Now, there is a thought process going through, and picking the right stocks. And this, ladies and gentlemen, if I may, I just want to share with you some perspective on Richemont. Now, Richemont was actually listed, way back in 1988. Henceforth, since its IPO, it has 18x. That means it's 18 times, meaning that you put in $1 million, then, ladies and gentlemen, as IPO, now will be worth 18 million. Ladies and gentlemen, no terraces, no semi-D, no bungalow can give you that kind of 18x return in this short period of time. So understanding, ladies and gentlemen, when we got into seeing Richemont, our basic philosophy in investment and in driving markets, and as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, when I quit the Singapore market and I retired, thankfully as a millionaire, to actually devote my energy, as the article actually quotes, I am is to help my billionaire clients invest their funds. And Gabriel Yap quit as senior dealing director to set up his own philanthropic foundation. Now, fast forward to today, essentially, what we basically thrive on is one thing, that is, follow the money when it comes to investment. Because our concept is very simple, ladies and gentlemen. When it comes to investments, follow the money, because no money, no honey. And ladies and gentlemen, if there's no honey, there's no honey dew, baby. So back on to Richemont, ladies and gentlemen. One of the reasons why it has become one of our favorite stock in all these years is this, ladies and gentlemen. Of Richemont, based on 2024 numbers. As you know, they have a March year end, and the March 2025 year end is coming close. You can see this is one of the rare companies in the world, yes, ladies and gentlemen, in the world, with an ROIC, or the return on invested capital of above 30%. As you can see, even in 2024, they did really well, 36%. In terms of ROE, is almost 20% at 19.3%. Now, if you look at the EBITDA margin, that means for every jewelry and watch that they sell, essentially the operating margin is or EBITDA margin is 27%, and the operating margin is 24%. Now take a step back, ladies and gentlemen. What does Richemont do, and what makes it an all-time favorite stock of mine? Let me share with you. I would think, ladies and gentlemen, that if you want to learn investments and make money on your millions, you want to learn from the best, right? So when it comes to investments, our track record shows, that essentially we have been able to make and generate huge amount of profits for our clients. But take Richemont, for example. It is a perfect exemplar of what we do. Richemont owns some of the best brands in the world. That includes Cartier. Yes, their watches, the Centaurs, is well known. The other well-known brand that Richemont owns is Van Cleef and Arpels. You can see, ladies and gentlemen, Van Cleef and Arpels is well renowned for its jewelry. For example, I got my jewelry from them, and this is a bull. You can customize, and let the bull swing, as it is. Depending on basically where you think the bull market's heading. But nonetheless, other than that, the other brands that Blumi and Mercier, Panerai, Piaget, Roger Dubois, and the very conservative veteran Constantine. That's the one I have. As well as essentially some of the other brands like Dunhill, Purdy, Montblanc, Wilfinder, and Serapian. My Van Cleef and Arpels, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this chart, ladies and gentlemen, shows that Richemont sales have actually 6x in the last 23 years. Essentially, at the time that I've bought, that is that when it was doing at 5.2 billion at 2009, after I quit and switched my portfolio to mainly overseas assets. You can see that the total sales at that time for the year 2000 was 5.2 billion. Henceforth, it has hit 20 billion, or 4x, since the last time I've bought. So yes, have I 4x my money? Yes, that was my original amount. But I just want to show you my latest batch that I bought, so that essentially you will know that even right now, you can look beyond 20% return. You can look at 2x if we know how to pick the stocks well, and that's what we do in our investment classes. The next of which is on 17th of May 2025. Feel free to sign up if this interests you, if you want to double your money on your investments. Because the alternative, is going to be difficult, because if you look, for example, the Singapore market has been lackadaisical for a longest period of time, ever since I left the market. And look at what Thursday the announcement came. They quoted the noted minister to say is that the MS Review Group proposes tax perks to boost Singapore equities market. Hey, take a step back, ladies and gentlemen. Do you think fund managers will actually come and pour money into Singapore stocks, because of tax incentives? Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your comments. For us, ladies and gentlemen, we think that it is unlikely, because remember, if the Singapore market doesn't give you the 2x return for many of the stocks, that means no money to be made. No money means no honey. Ladies and gentlemen, no honey means no honeydew. So are they backing up the wrong tree in terms of the incentive to dish out? I'm sure the knowledgeable minister knows what he's doing. Let's wait for more endeavors to be announced and initiatives to be announced. So you can see, ladies and gentlemen, Richemont in the last 10 years, the sales have actually doubled from 10 billion to 20 billion. Now, let me tell you, world-leading companies like Richemont, LVMH, and HERMES, when their sales double, you can bet for sure that the bottom line, which is the operating profit margin, as well as actually the EBITDA margin, as well as the net profit, will more than double, even to the extent of triple. Why? Because, as what I've shown you earlier, the OPM, that's operating margin, is very strong, 25, some of them 30%. Like in the case of HERMES, it's almost 45%. Now, this kind are the world-leading companies that we actually prepare our students for and investors for to look up in the investment classes. Now, remember, follow the money is a very key concept in investments, and one of the key things that I'm passionate about in sharing in my upcoming 17th of May class is this, because other than the phenomena of AI that will take the world and will be a strong investment theme in the coming year and the coming decade. I think the proliferation of ETFs, will actually take forth. Last year, the ETF market hits almost 11 trillion in just one single year. And you can see the likes of new introduction like buffer ETFs now is taking the market by storm. Now, before you can even sit and offer textbooks, ladies and gentlemen, the ETF world has proliferated from starting in 1993, normal passive ETF, meaning just ETFs introduced by the likes of BlackRock, State Street, Morningstar, Blackstone, and BlackRock, that's mimicking the index. And then 2019, when SEC, then the likes of leverage ETF that uses leverage, inverse ETF hit the market. And then before you knew it, because of the popularity and the turning points in the market, the likes of multiple inverse ETFs, multiple leverage ETF hit the market. And you can see right now, this year, as we speak, it's only in the second month, but the likes of buffer ETF now has actually skyrocketed. So, ladies and gentlemen, bear this in mind. One, money doesn't sleep. And two, where should you put your money? Very simple. Remember, follow the money, because no money, yes, say it loud, no money, no honey. No honey, ladies and gentlemen, no honeydew. That's right, the honeydew. Whoops, who ate half of my honeydew? Hope you enjoyed this week's video. Do share and tell us your comments about the Singapore market vis the overseas markets. And of course, if you like what we see and you reckon that we can help you double your investment and your money, do join us for our 17th of May class. It's selling very fast, so the seats are limited. So do sign up and enjoy the early bird special. Till next week then.